Okay, just opened Rhino. The first thing we're gonna do is make sure that our units are correct. I chose inches, which is fine, but you can right click that, go to unit settings. You can modify it to be whatever you want. And then down here, I like to use feet and inches as well. You can have it as fractional or decimal, but I prefer feet and inches. Okay, and what that basically is gonna do is it's gonna let me know down here at the bottom, right here, it's gonna let me know how far it is with whatever unit setting I just chose. So 6 feet, 5 3/4 of an inch, you know, it just makes it nicer. All right, next thing you're gonna do is you're gonna set up your page however you like to. I personally like to bring these down because you usually don't use these very much, but having them still there, you can kind of see the profile of whatever you're modeling. And then I bring the top view over here. So I can have a good proportion of the plan view as well as the perspective view. I mostly work in perspective. I know a lot of people are against that, but I think it's easiest when modeling curves and stuff. So yeah, that's what I do. If you need one of these views to be bigger, I simply double click it and now it's the whole page and just double click out of it. It's all it takes, super easy. It'll become second nature before you know it. Down at the bottom, I know a lot of people hate that I do this, but I turn Smart Track off, Gumball stays on, and Osnap stays on. And for Gumball, I like to have snappy dragging on, which should be automatically on, but just in case it's not, that's what I like to do. And also align to C-plane. You can change this later and it'll come in handy. But for beginners, that's pretty standard. It's pretty normal. This list over here comes and goes with Osnap. It basically just tells what you're snapping to. If you've ever used AutoCAD, it's kind of the same thing, except easier to read. Perpendicular, intersecting objects, midpoint, any points, the nearest, and the end of points. Those are typically, I think these are your standard. It might also have center object snap on, but I usually keep that off because it can get quite annoying. Honestly, a lot of people don't use Osnap at all. So if you don't want to, then turn it off, but I like to use it. As for your perspective view, I typically like to keep this on shaded or ghosted. I go back and forth between that. And if I really want to see how it's looking, I'll go to rendered view, but I stay out of that as much as possible because it kind of weighs down your computer. So I usually keep it at ghosted. Just to kind of show you the difference, that's wireframe, that's shaded. This is rendered. This is ghosted. And then you can use the other ones. The others are kind of, I'm not going to say useless, but we do use Arctic quite a bit just because it's got that solid background that's pretty nice. So let's go through a couple of the things we were talking about with Gumball and Osnap. Gumball is essentially these arrows that you get, and you can raise it and lower it, do whatever you need to. Control Z to undo what you've just done. With the Gumball, you can stretch, you can extend, and yeah, it's pretty self-explanatory. You'll get the hang of it. So now let's go over what the Osnap does, which is why you have all these things pointed out. So you see how I'm kind of like hovering in the blank space over here, and when I get close to it, the point snaps to the edge of this. That is essentially all that Osnap does. Now, what I have just done is I have drawn a line, and you can see that it's not all on the same plane. It's like a bunch of different points. Something really great about the Gumball command is that not just Gumball, but having Gumball and Osnap on at the same time, you can take this square on the blue arrow pointing upwards. You can take this and drag it to that point. And once it says point, let it go. And now it is all at the same plane, as you can see in your elevation view. And yeah, there you go. That's how to set up Rhino for noobs.